Hey there. So I mentioned today that I watch this propaganda stream. So this is Islamic Republic propaganda, and like I wasn't sure it would be obvious how insane the propaganda can be, and so but I went to their channel, and this interview is in English. So this is an interview with Scott Ritter on. So it's Jedal is the name of the what you call it, the channel, um, Jedal Farsi, right? And I am guessing that the reason they are now doing a they are doing English programming is because officially um, the internet um, is being censored in Iran. I don't know if they even really have um, I mean, their command and control, how if they know what they're supposed to be saying anymore. Um, I mean, it's really important that Iran has decided to cut itself off, and the fact that this is in English. I mean, I don't know how often they do English stuff. I don't watch this. I mean, you'll see. It's so comical. But here we go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel.
Um,
Today, I'm joined by Scott Ritter, a former UN weapons inspector and US Marine Corps intelligence officer. He's known for his outspoken and often challenging takes on US foreign policy and military strategy. Thanks, Scott, for giving us this opportunity. And given you are very busy, I appreciate your time and generosity. My first question is, what's your assessment of
Now, notice he's going to give to. I only listened for the first few minutes, and then I'm like, if I'm going to listen to the rest of this, I'm at least going to have to do some sort of commentary. He's going to give two insane takes and ask which one's better.
of Iran's strategy in the last 6 days of this war, which started last Friday by Israel? Because right now there are two,
Which was started last Friday by Israel. Like it's so obvious propaganda. Like
main take on this war inside Iran, and there's a big debate whether Iran is doing the right strategy or not. One camp believes that Iran has been too prudent, too conservative, too
these are the two possible strategies, and I will note that the one strategy which he makes it sound like it's the bad strategy is actually the only strategy that like people are seriously like, why aren't they doing this? And like, listen,
predictable. And whereas Israel has been unpredictable, has been using surprise attacks, and they believe and has acted as a madman. And they believe that Iran should also take the role of the madman. The other side believe that given
Israel's been a madman, absolute madman. And like, these people would also want Iran to be a madman and close the Straits of Hormuz, which really, I mean, right now, Iran is the Islamic Republic is seriously in its death throes, right? There's, I mean, they've been completely incapable of responding to this attack, defending themselves. The military has been decapitated. Apparently, 30 senior military officials have been assassinated. And like, Iran's like military is pretty much nowhere to be seen, and it's becoming less and less seen, right? their missile launchers are being taken out to the point where like they're only sending so many missiles, and frankly cutting off internet. That tells you something. Reza Pahlavi has been more and more in doing interviews in Farsi. He is um, telling people to contact him. He claims that people in the military have been contacting him and are about to declare for him. I mean, obviously, I have no way of knowing if that's true, but he hasn't made these types of claims before. He's actually very conservative about such things. Yeah.
And the level of Iran's power at the moment, and the fact that the US can join in at any moment, Iran should be reasonable and should not provoke its neighbors, should not provoke United States, and also should not get out of coordination with Russia and China by blocking the
go Pacers. I don't even know what you're saying. Once propaganda is and someone else's news, I remember weapons of mass destruction. No, young God, you have to. I mean, listen to this. This is not somebody else's news. People who listen, and this is what we're not used to, right? We're not used to in the United States this level of pravda. Like it's pretty insane. It's pretty insane. Under what circumstances, if any, would you consider returning to rebuild your country of origin? If I were asked directly, maybe. If Israel is so powerful, can Israel do this to any country? Israel is not very powerful. That's been my whole point. Look, Israel is flying over Jordan and Syria to do these strikes. You don't see Jordan and Syria saying anything. Hezbollah in Lebanon, it's not doing anything. Hezbollah is not doing anything. Afghanistan, Pakistan, nothing. This is not Israel acting alone. This is Israel doing the bidding of other regional powers. Turkey, like Iran has, the Islamic regime has outworn its welcome. And like when I said paper tiger, I really did mean it. It's I am surprised. CSIS had a data science thing with sentiment analysis on Iranian social media posts. That was very interesting. I have never heard of CSIS. I don't know exactly what you're talking about. People are calling out Russia for what a terrible ally they are. Russia is the least of it. The only thing I have heard is apparently 5 Boeing jets from Shanghai flew to Tehran. It is possible they are evacuating people. It is possible that there are people who are evacuating already from the regime. So, yeah. Center for Strategic and International Studies. Yeah, I don't know much about them or anything about them, actually. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that the other Middle Eastern countries are just staying neutral. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, they're making noises with their mouths, but I mean, listen to this. the fact that it's in English is why I decided to do this. I like
the route of energy and by closing the Strait of Hormuz. What's your opinion?
First of all, Iran has been preparing for this type of activity for some time now. If you remember, at the end of the American invasion and occupation of Iraq in 2003, there was talk about the United States seeking to, have a campaign that would result in 7 nations having their governments toppled, the last of which was Iran. And at that time, I believe Iran made a decision to prepare for that eventuality for the United States to physically.
Now listen to what this guy says, okay? Like, anyone with 2 brain cells would be like, you realize that in 5 minutes, this is going to be completely like, like, there's a reason why nobody actually takes Scott Ritter seriously. The man is deranged. And listen to what he says. And it's like, you're broadcasting this.
Attack Iran, put boots on the ground, things of that nature. And so they embarked on a strategy designed to be able to ride out a long-term conflict. So Iran has prepared for long-term conflict. Iran, this isn't about, for instance, the Israeli tactic of initiating a war that's supposed to be over in a matter of days. Iran has prepared for a conflict that's designed to last months. So Iran is prepared for this. 2, the Iranians have offered Israel the opportunity to end this conflict at any time. The war will end today if Israel stops bombing Iran.
Yes, it will, because Iran has no defenses.
That's it. So Iran has put the power of stopping this war in the hands of Israel. And the fact that the Israelis won't end this war is sort of an act of suicide on the part of Israel.
You hear that? It's an act of suicide. Israel is committing suicide. Now listen to what he says.
Today, 1 week into this conflict, Israel has suffered a $500 billion worth of infrastructure damage. $500 billion.
$500 billion in infrastructure damage. And as he will go on to say, Israel is cannot survive this. Israel is gone. Israel has already sustained so much damage that Israel has been destroyed. Do you hear this guy?
Worth of infrastructure damage. It's a small country. This has already made this. If the war stopped today, Israel would not be able to recover from
it. If the war stopped today, Israel would not be able to recover from it. Do you hear this guy? If the war were to stop today, Israel would not be able to recover from it. Now, how much more so? It's going to continue. So, like, Israel's fate has been sealed. Sealed, done, delivered. It's over. Iran has already won, my friends. Isn't that wonderful news for Iran? Like, can you believe this guy? Can you believe this guy? Yeah, the old weapons. Yeah, I mean, Scott isn't wrong about Ukraine, but I guess I didn't know he was a convicted pedo, but makes sense. Is he gonna pull out the 1/3 of TA being destroyed? I'm not sure what you mean. What's TA? Yeah, Tel Aviv. Oh, I mean, apparently Israel has already, like, do you hear what I mean by this being like insane propaganda? Like, I've seen so many YouTube videos recommended talking about the bunker buster missile 57 and if it could penetrate their underground facilities. YouTube is out for blood too. Maybe. I'm not sure. I have to say, the longer this goes on, the more I am starting to believe that actually Israel Why, thank you, Donnie. I'm glad I'm entertaining you. I am very glad I'm entertaining you. Um, the like um it is insane propaganda, but to be fair, we're surrounded by insane propaganda. Like this propaganda, I mean, come on. Be serious. Oh, back to the bunker buster. Uh the I I actually think we're at a point where because Israel seems to be kind of signaling very loudly that they can take care of Fordo themselves. I am wondering if Israel doesn't have enough people on the ground that they are actually sneaking the um, the enriched uranium from Fordo back to Israel. Um, like my best guess, and this is just a guess, is that Israel may. I mean, if you remember a few years ago, they um, they found the nuclear archives in Tehran for the nuclear research, and they moved trucks of them back to Israel, and then created a basically a museum for people to come um, listen, see what they had found, right? Like that was the type of Mossad shit that Mossad loves to do. I seriously have to wonder if uh, Israel hasn't isn't in the process of just taking all the enriched uranium in Fordo. I don't know what the practicalities of that would be, but if you're enriching weapons grade uranium, um, you you must have some way of trying to remove it to make it transportable to a to like some sort of weapons platform in order for you to deliver it, right? Um, and I'm just wondering if Israel's plan isn't to steal the enriched uranium, which would be hilarious. This isn't propaganda; it's cope. Yeah, I guess you could call it cope. It's beyond cope, though. Like, can like I don't understand who finds this in any way um like convincing. Like, listen to this guy.
From this conflict economically, $500 billion. If this war continues for another week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, you're looking at the physical destruction of Israel. Literally.
Physical destruction, literal physical destruction of Israel. Like, Israel's gone off the map. It's gone. My dude, like, Iran has won this. Can you believe it? Like, look at this big brain analysis on Scott. Scott is a genius. Like, your crazy uncle at the barbecue who has like the crazy opinions which everybody like rolls their eyes at. Nothing compared. Nothing compared to my man Scott here. Israel physically been destroyed. Can you believe it? Iran has destroyed Israel like that. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
literally the physical destruction of Israel, which makes Israel's survivability as a nation state impossible. Israel is committing suicide as we speak because of the
Do
Iranian.
you hear this? It is impossible for Israel to survive. It is impossible. Israel is committing suicide as we speak. Do you hear this man? The galaxy brained, absolute, like, incisive, like, if I had been a military intelligence officer and a weapons inspector in Iraq, and I had the imagination and capacity of this man for the analysis and prediction, like, the man is a prophet. Israel is committing suicide as we speak. It's over. It's over. Can you believe it? Like, and look at the guy who's interviewing him. Like, it's so interesting what Scott is saying here. It's why, thank you, Scott, for enlightening us with this brilliant analysis. Like, wow, Israel has physically been destroyed already. Like, they should give up already. It's over. I'm sorry. Why are we listening? Iran has a whole underground tunnel system. They learned from North Korea. They moved missiles around that way to make it hard to target, etc. Yeah, but I mean, Israel was able to take out the entirety of the senior military staff of Iran. I have a very hard time. They don't know. Yeah. Destruction of Israel. It's suicide. What I really don't understand about these types is that they really think that if Iran lobs bombs for 2 weeks, the Israelis will pack their bags and go back to Poland. No, I have to say, I don't think even Scott believes what he's saying. You can't. I mean, no human being intelligent enough to say what he is saying can actually believe it. No human being intelligent enough to say what he is saying can actually believe what he's saying. It's not possible. Just like, what he's saying is just idiotic. There's a reason I ignore Scott. Yeah. So did Hitler in Pas-de-Calais in 1944. Hitler totally destroyed London. Galaxy brain, yes. Withdrawing any daydreaming is what people do when they can't. Withdrawing and daydreaming is what people. I don't think Scott is daydreaming. I don't think the guy who's interviewing him is actually daydreaming. This is even if he's literally wrong, is he entirely? Yeah, he's the. I mean, it's just. Is it possible that this winds up being a bridge too far for the American populace, and especially the younger half of America? Oh, well, I mean, okay. Ways in which this could go wrong for Israel exist. And if they were in any way being, like, realistic, right? They would, like, there's a Baghdad Bob. Does everybody remember Baghdad Bob? Let me see if I can find Baghdad Bob. So let's read about the life and times of Baghdad Bob. Muhammad Saeed al-Sahaf is an Iraqi former diplomat and politician. He served as Minister of Foreign Affairs from 1992 to 2001. He came to worldwide prominence around the 2003 invasion of Iraq, during which he was Minister of Information under Iraqi President Saddam Hussein, acting as spokesman for the Arab Socialist Ba'ath Party and Saddam's government. He has also been nicknamed Baghdad Bob or Comical Ali. For his notable and colorful television appearances as the information minister of Iraq. Now, nicknames. Al-Sahaf is known for his daily press briefings in Baghdad during the 2003 invasion of Iraq. His colorful appearances caused him to be nicknamed in the style of previous propagandists with geographical aliases, some of them alliterative, such as Tokyo Rose and Hanoi Hannah and Seoul City Sue, by commentators in the United States. He was nicknamed Comical Ali. That's kind of funny. By commentators in the United Kingdom. And commentators in Italy similarly nicknamed him Ali il Comico. These nicknames were given because he made statements about the conflict that were wildly at odds with reality, and Western media treated him as parody. Like, there is a certain like like there's a certain amount of brazen lying that happens in whatchamacallit, yeah, so apparently he's working for Al Arabi or something now, but he's living in the UAE. There's a certain amount of comical insanity that people engage in, which is just it's not even propaganda anymore. It becomes farce, right? And there are ways. I mean, if you were doing serious propaganda, you would talk about how this, Iran could become a quagmire, how regime change in Iran could actually lead to things far worse. If Iran becomes a failed state, then the terrorism that could come out of it could be far worse. There are definitely more militant and crazy types than Ali Khamenei, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There are lots of ways, right, in which you could paint this situation to be bad. This is insane. What he's saying here is absolutely insane. It has zero relationship with the truth. Like, it is farcical. Yeah. Grown men rely on a fine aged whiskey. Yeah. Don't underestimate the power of derangement foolishness. It might be long term, but that isn't what I've heard from him so far. Right. Exactly. He's saying, like, yeah. As in, that's not the argument he's making right now. He's arguing that Israelis are being beaten by the Iranians. Trump is presently hesitating, checking the political temperature around in the U.S. Yeah, that's an actual thing, right? Although his hesitation, I mean, yeah. Oh yeah, I'm not trying to defend Scott. More than saying that even though he's wrong, he might not be wrong. That long term, okay, you are making a much better. You are making a much better. Um, oh, is this Topher? Topher, long time no see. How have you been? Oh my God, I believe this is Topher. Is it Topher, my dear friend? Um, but like, yeah, this is just silliness. Um, but yeah, I mean, you're trying to make, my dear friend Topher. It has been way too long. We miss you. Glad to see you. Sorry that it took a war to bring you back. Lance is also very excited about Topher being around. Um, um, but yeah, like you are trying very, very hard to make this man not be saying absolutely idiotic things, and I hate to break it to you, this is just plain idiotic.
In strategy. So for the critics, what did they want? I mean, the critics of Iran, were they looking for Iran to defeat Israel? Iran is defeating Israel, and Iran is defeating Israel in the only manner that is politically possible for Israel to make the decisions that lead to it.
Iran is defeating Israel. I mean, do you see the genius of Iran in defeating Israel? Like, it's amazing, amazing.
To its destruction, not Iran. A key aspect to this, the Iranian strategy, is to keep America out of this conflict.
Like the interviewer, like his mouth is agape. He can't believe that somebody's saying things this stupid.
Because that's the only hope Israel has of survival, is direct intervention by the United States. And so far, Iran has been very successful in this regard. But I do think
Iran has been
this
very
is an existential war of survival between Iran and Israel. Only one nation walks away from this victorious, and it will be Iran, because of the strategic direction and thinking of
Iran's gonna win. They're strategic. Oh my God, Khamenei is such a genius.
their leadership. So for the people that wanted Iran to be more aggressive and to do more things, I would say that you might get a different outcome than what you have right now. The strategy of the Iranian government is a very pragmatic, responsible,
realistic
strategy.
Wow.
That's premised on, as you
wow, that like the Ayatollah is such an incredible person. It must be supernatural help from Allah that this leader, I am awestruck by the brilliance of the Ayatollah in this situation, who is doing the most wisest of things. I mean, the wisest of the wise is the Ayatollah in this situation. Why?
Indicated a war of attrition, but it's not necessarily a war of attrition of Israeli ballistic missile interceptors and Iranian missiles. The Iranians have already shown that Israel can't defend against Iranian missiles. So it doesn't matter how many missile interceptors Israel has. They could have an infinite number of missile interceptors. Iran has devised the ballistic missile solution to the Iron Dome.
The solution to the Iron Dome. Like, Iran is just brilliant. Just brilliant. Netanyahu would trade places like that with Iran. I mean, would you rather be living in the glorious country of Iran or in the suicidal madman state that is committing suicide and has been physically destroyed already of Israel? Do you see why, like, I can barely stomach listening to these people?
Iron Dome cannot defeat Iran. Even the Iron Dome enhanced with American support, the THAAD missile, the Aegis system.
I mean, Iran could send missiles that have killed so far, as far as we know, more Muslims than Jews. But yeah, and they hit a hospital today. I mean, if Iran hits enough hospitals, you know, Israel has more doctors per capita than any country in the entire world, whereas Iran's first medical school was built in the late 1800s it was the first university in the entire country by Christian missionaries from New Jersey who went there as evangelists after World War II. And it didn't actually become a university until the 1920s or 30s. And even in the 50s and 60s, most people who wanted to get an education would go to Turkey or, would have to go travel outside the country because, and my great uncle actually taught medicine at the University of Tehran. But of course, he and other people in my family who had to flee, who were teaching medicine at the University of Tehran, this is the most insane take ever. And why anybody can take this seriously. This man is a farce of himself. Grift, yeah, I don't think it's contrarian. I mean, when it comes down to it, I think it's just he's the only way to steel man this take is Iran has been slow playing their launches of missiles and Israel is out of interceptors. Sorry, impossible to steel man this guy. Early returns are a mirage. Topher, we love you, but yeah. He wants this to be quick and easy, and he's using the Israelis as a proxy, which is something more people should think about. You mean Trump? Yeah, I think you mean Trump. Peak a Jacob tonight. Guess. Dems will impeach Trump if Iran folds or if Iran doesn't fold. They are crisis actors like Holy Rioters. Dems are irrelevant at this point. I wouldn't say that. This man is military. He knows the Iron Dome isn't meant to protect against ballistic missiles. That's what Arrow 3 and THAAD are for. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter. You cannot win a war with missiles. And he knows that. You can't win a war with missiles. They can help. They can be part of it. I thought I read it. Topher, you have to come jump on. It's been way too long. I am sending you a link. Fine, don't come on. I know you have speakers in your background. What do you mean you're falling asleep? You can't, unless you move to Europe, it's not that late. By the way, how have you been? You had one daughter when we last spoke, which was 3 or 4 years ago. Some friend you are, Topher. You only want me for my English, for my Persian speaking skills. Wow. I remember when she was born. Wow. I won't say how old she is. Can't dox your daughter. Um, wow, Mazel Tov. Mazel Tov. That's beautiful. Okay, I should probably stop having a private discussion with Topher. Topher thinks it's still possible for things to go wrong because Topher always has to be a worrywart because that's who Topher is. We love Topher. Were you salty or were you fresh? Which one was salty? Was Jess salty or were I forget which one of you were salty and which one was fresh. Although I would have probably said Topher's salty. Okay. Iranian propaganda is a Farsi something. I think I'd rather be in Tel Aviv high rise than in a Tehran bunker. Yes. I realize, but like, just go with it, my dear friend. Just go with it. Like, you can laugh at people being incredibly stupid. You can laugh at people being incredibly stupid. Okay. How much longer of this are we going to listen to? But like, I don't know how much more of this I can handle.
Satellites, etc., can't defeat the Iranians. The Iranians are defeating the Iron Dome. So while people say, well, in 12 days, Israel may run out of missiles, it doesn't matter. Israel could have infinite numbers of intercept missiles, and it's not succeeding in stopping the Iranians. Meanwhile, the Iranians continue to unveil more and more and more modern missiles that are capable of defeating this defense shield. So I think Iran is on a path of strategic victory against
a path of strategic victory. Like, I wonder if this guy is taking bets, because while I don't have an extra $5,000, like, I'm guessing he wouldn't take the bet. I wouldn't. He's not going to even take the bet. Because, like, why would he say things he knows to be this dumb? Either this is the only way he can make money these days, or like, but it's just beyond
Israel. And if the United States stays out of this conflict, and Israel doesn't use nuclear weapons against Iran, Iran wins this war. But now
that's a question. That's a question.
He just stepped in it, because he said if Israel doesn't use nuclear weapons, and that's not something that that the regime wants anybody to talk about.
Well, let's just keep United States out of this so far, because the critics say, I mean, the number of like Iranian casualties is about tenfold of the Israeli casualties, and also they say Israel has created a sky highway in Iran, so it goes back and forth whenever they want to come and go. They bomb wherever they want. So it seems that technologically they have the upper hand, and also they claim that they are destroying Iran's missile arsenal one after another. How do you interpret that? How much of that is like propaganda? How much of it is real? And based on what you see from Iranian missile operations, which seem that every night becomes more precise, but also becomes less number of missiles, how do you interpret this claim by Israelis?
Well, first of all, there's no doubt that Israel has a very effective military. We know that they have the most modern equipment, the most modern weaponry, and they're highly trained. And so why is it inconceivable that Israel could penetrate Iranian air defenses and launch strikes against targets in Iran? It's not inconceivable. It's highly probable that this is the case.
It's happened. What are you talking about?
But we have to look at the attack profile. Is this a case, as Israel says, of airplanes loitering over Iran, free reign, or is each attack a very planned attack along a specific route where weapons are released and then the assets return home? I think it's more of this is a pre-planned attack. I don't think Israel is just rolling up in the skies, having total control of the skies. If they were, then we'd hear the Israeli jets, we'd see the Israeli jets.
Are you in Iran? Like, have you been watching the videos I have of people constantly, like, has he heard of Manitou Television or Iran International or any of the other YouTube channels I watch where we see like the videos? There's a reason they took the internet down.
the attacks would be far more continuous in nature. These are attacks that are pre-planned attacks, generally involving weapons released from a distance, and also supported by drone operations on the soil of Iran, where the Mossad has been very effective in building drone support. Over time, this drone support is eroding. The Iranians are rolling up the drone operators, which takes away one of Israel's best strike assets, leaving the Israeli Air Force. Now, what no one's talking about is what damage has Iran done to Israeli Air Forces, done to Israeli air bases. It's not just about destroying aircraft. It's about destroying petroleum, fuel, destroying infrastructure. Already, the rumor is that Israel had been forced to flee to the British bases on Cyprus because
this is a rumor I haven't heard.
Because they are unable to operate on the Israeli bases, many of the Israeli bases in Israel. So if this war continues and Iran continues to apply precision strike against Israel, you're going to see a degradation of Israel's ability to sustain this air conflict, this air campaign. Israel has not stopped the Iranian missiles. In fact, Iran today is using more advanced missiles with greater penetration capability and greater precision. So they're actually doing more damage right now with less strikes than they were with the massive missile strikes were basically a political message to create a visual reality of the impotence of Israel. To have all these missiles coming in, have the Israeli interceptors going up and still having missiles impact on the ground, it's a sort of a form of psychological warfare. And I think what the Iranians were hoping is that Israel would say, we want this to stop. We don't want to continue. But now Israel's crossed the threshold where we're into a long war of attrition. And I think Iran wins this war of attrition. Israel hasn't stopped the Iranian ballistic missile force. The Iranians have been planning for this for some time now. There's no doubt in my mind that Israel is. Go ahead.
But as you see, I mean, again, the critics say Iran is only using missiles, whereas Israel has like so many different options in its in its kill book. So they use drones, they use car bomb, they use assassination, they use terrorism, they use different forms of hybrid warfare, and now they're promising that we're going to do something Thursday or Friday. That pager attack was nothing in comparison. And then they're also like, I don't know, they're targeting the kind of heads of like Iranian army, Iranian like IRGC, etc. So what would you say in this like lack of symmetry, in this asymmetry between the fact that Iran is only using one form of classical weaponry and Israel has many different things in its strategy?
First of all, you have to understand that there is no common border between Israel and Iran. So the Iranians have built a weapon that best maximizes their potential to have an impact on Israel. One Iranian missile is not the same as the next Iranian missile. So Iran actually has a tremendous range of options that it can bring to bear. It can bring in the Kaibar system with a massive 2,000-pound warhead. It can bring in more advanced systems with multiple warheads, cluster munitions. They have separating warheads. They have hypersonic missiles. That gives them a tremendous range of options. So Iran actually has a whole menu of missiles that it can pick and attack different targets. So the idea that Iran has limited itself is an absurd idea, because Iran has given itself a tremendous amount of flexibility to include drones which have penetrated Israel and struck Israel. So the idea that Iran doesn't need to have operatives on the ground in Israel blowing things up with a car bomb. First of all,
but Israel does have operatives on Iranian ground. Like, Israel is like, the border of Israel from Iran is precisely the same length away as the border of Iran from Israel. You realize that, right?
That's not necessarily how Iran works. They might be a more moral nation than that.
It's the morality of Iran. It's the morality of Iran. That's why they're sending missiles that have zero capacity to do any actual military danger at hospitals.
Those are pinprick attacks. The car bombs, the drones. You don't win wars with car bombs and drones. You win wars with concerted military action sustained over a period of time to achieve defined objectives. And the Iranian missile arsenal has been conceived to do just that. Israel's running.
Iran has devised a new form of war. You can win with sustained missile attacks. Like Hezbollah and Gaza just lobbing blind missiles and rockets into Israel for years and years and years has won them the war. I mean, right?
Out of tricks as Iran rolls up the Mossad networks that limits Israel. I mean, they were saying early on that 80% of the attacks done by Israel on Iran were done by these Mossad drone operators. So when you eliminate them, you suddenly diminished Israel's capacity to do harm by a significant percentage. Does Israel have any secret weapons up its sleeve? I mean, they've been firing these long-range standoff missiles, blue streak, silver streak, red streak, whatever you want to call them, and they have some other capabilities out there they're using as well. But
apparently, there are
that's
people
it.
in Iran.
And Iran has already shown that it can defeat some
using Starlink. But it's very expensive to have an actual Starlink set, in addition to being illegal. And so, yeah. I'm catching up, but so far I'm thinking that Tokyo Rose was a lot better looking than this guy. Okay, guys. I mean, do we need to continue with this guy? I don't know if anybody wants to jump on and talk. If not, I'm kind of done with this guy. I really am. I just like, I subject myself to Iranian propaganda every once in a while just to see what they're saying. And this was in English, and I was like, well, here it's in English, so you guys can listen to it yourself. But like, yeah, I have zero idea.
Some of these systems make it difficult for Israel to launch. And also, remember, Iran's a huge country. The number of targets that Israel will have to strike to defeat Iran exceed the amount of munitions in the Israeli arsenal. Iran, on the other hand, has more than enough missiles to make Israel disappear off the face of the earth, and they're in the process of doing that. So, yes, if I were an Iranian, I'd be frustrated. Nobody likes to see buildings get blown up. Nobody wants to see leadership. But the Iranian leadership is mature. They knew this was coming. They have resilience. They have prepared for this. If you take out a senior Iranian commander, there is somebody ready to take his place who is qualified. If the Israelis take out the supreme leader, there is somebody who will take his place. This is a theocracy, meaning that this is a nation defined by its religious faith. And if you don't respect that, then you're not going to do. If you think the Iranians are so shallow that the loss of Ali Khamenei would mean that the Iranians lose faith, they give up their religion, they walk away from Ali, then you don't know the Iranian people. First of all, the Shia faith is based upon the concept of sacrifice and martyrdom. I mean, Ali and Karbala. That's, so.
Ali at, you mean Hassan at Karbala? I'm pretty sure. Was it Ali at Karbala? Battle of Karbala was, it was Hussein ibn Ali. Wasn't Ali. He had me doubting myself right there.
All you're doing, I don't mean to be too facetious, but all Israel's doing is giving the Iranians the best chance to be the best Shia possible so they can walk in the footsteps of Ali at Karbala. But
best Shia possible. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. All these Shiite martyrs, like, it's beautiful. They're all going to be martyred.
The point is, the Iranians are deeply faithful people, and you're not going to change them by killing Ali Khamenei.
Given like the whole war started with a blitzkrieg, with a surprise attack by Israel, some people might have.
I don't understand why the regime propaganda is letting him talk about the killing of Ali Khamenei. There have been rumors that Khamenei has been killed already. Like, is he preparing people?
I mean, blitzkrieg are conducted to make you lose your confidence. So some people would think that Israel might have many unknown tricks, which surprise us again. And the language they use, the psyops they use, are all trying to accentuate and confirm this. My question to you is, you said Iranians have been preparing for this for a long time. But the other side as well, it seems that Israelis should have prepared for this for a long time. Israelis knew that attacking Iran is not attacking Lebanon, is not attacking Gaza. Even Gaza has taken 622 days, let alone Iran. So I don't want to overestimate Israelis, but at the same time, we don't want to underestimate their power. Don't you think that Israelis who are all united around this is not only Netanyahu, Netanyahu, they have some possible strategy as well for the coming months. They wouldn't think that it's going to be a war of 1 week or 2 weeks. So what's your assessment of their long-term strategy and hope?
Well, Israel has been planning for a war against Iran for some time. You're 100% correct on that. And we know by you're looking at the Mossad operations in Iran, some of them date back 10 years. Israel has been preparing for this for a decade. The Air Force has been preparing these very strike profiles that they're flying right now. They've been training them. They used to go up to Turkey and fly them in Konya along terrain that replicates what they'd experienced here. So Israel has been prepared for this, but Israel has also come to the realization that they cannot initiate and sustain an air campaign against Iran without the assistance of the United States. That's always been one of the critical factors. And there's nothing that has changed in Israel's military posture that would change that conclusion. And in fact, if you take a look at, because Israel has had this conflict in Gaza with Hezbollah and is currently engaged in Syria, Israel's weaker today than they would be at any other time previous to this. So they're striking Iran when they're actually weaker, not stronger. Yes, they use some tricks, but if I'm going to use an American football analogy, hopefully your audience will understand it. But if I'm a coach preparing for at the beginning of the season to go to the Super Bowl, all I do is focus on trick plays. Okay, here's a trick play. Here's a trick play. Here's a trick play. That trick play may work once, but then it's done. It doesn't work again. Or do I work on fundamentals, a running attack, a passing attack, how to do a drive, how to work on position control so that we dominate the field? The team that works on fundamentals wins the Super Bowl. The team that has to rely on trick plays doesn't go to the Super Bowl. Israel right now, understanding that they can't win this game without American assistance, relied on trick plays.
Trick plays. Like murdering 30 generals.
And it didn't work. Iran has recovered.
It didn't work.
And Iran, having worked on fundamentals, is winning the campaign. Israel's only hope right now is that the United States intervene. That's their only hope for salvation. If the United States fails to intervene and this war continues, then Israel will be physically destroyed by the Iranian ballistic missiles.
And would that be conceivable for American politics as a whole, left and right, to sit back and watch Israel as its most expensive military asset in the last 70 years to be destroyed or no? So in a sense, isn't Netanyahu's expected trick was to lure to do something that America's intervention is absolutely necessary and absolutely inevitable?
Yeah, and had this been a different president, maybe it would have succeeded. But we have a president who ran on a election platform of peace. And the majority of his supporters voted for him to keep America out of wars. And many of these Americans aren't your traditional pro-Israeli crowd. They're pro-America crowd. And so we have a situation here where Israel has started a war with a surprise attack. It's been called a Pearl Harbor type event. If you're an American, you know what Pearl Harbor means. It's the day of infamy, when the Japanese launched a surprise attack against us. We don't celebrate this day as a day of amazing Japanese military victory. We celebrate as a day of infamy when we were attacked while we were asleep on a Sunday. Israel now has done that. And there's hardly any Americans that go, well, that's a good thing. Most Americans are going, no. So Israel now is
bragging about having done September 11.
Yeah, it's bingo. Thank you. Now you have the Israelis trying to make the case, well, we had to do it. They're trying to replicate the case of going to war with Iraq, the threat of weapons of mass destruction, the threat of nuclear weapons. The problem is with Iraq, the CIA was playing the game. They issued false intelligence assessments, etc. Here we have the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, saying Iran's not a threat. There is no nuclear weapon program. Even the director general of the IAEA, who was complicit in using the IAEA as a tool against Iran, and passed a finding of non-compliance that led to a board decision by the board of governors that helped give Israel to say, look, we have to take action. He now says, no, even their non-compliance, it wasn't about nuclear weapons. There is no nuclear weapons program in Iran. So now if you're the president trying to explain why we're going to go to war against Iran, it's not going to be because we're here to support Israel. It had to be because Iran represented a threat. But when your director of national intelligence says that Iran doesn't represent a threat, it becomes harder to sell that war. And it becomes harder to get American sympathy to Israel when Israel wants the surprise attack. Iran, it's not just that Iran was evil lurking there. Iran was in the process of negotiating a satisfactory agreement about how to eliminate the threat of an Iranian.
Okay, and I'm done with this guy. Is this Iranian propaganda versus anti-Israeli propaganda? Not sure what you mean. These fake experts have many different nefarious motivations. It's beyond massive cope. Yeah. This is so unbelievably Orientalist of him to say. Um, wow, Colonimus, I think this is the first time you've ever cursed. Um, yeah, yeah. Okay, people. Um, if nobody's gonna jump on, I'm probably going to go back to real life. Mm, I'm just checking to see if there's any news about Khamenei. Um, last he tweeted was 15 hours ago from the Quran. And victory comes only from Allah, the Almighty, the All-Wise. Quran 3:126. And Almighty God will certainly definitely grant victory to the Iranian nation against the Islamic regime, to the truth, and to the side that is in the right, God willing. I agree with him. Um, wow. Um, I'm kind of afraid of a copyright strike, or I would. Um, what? I mean, people are claiming there are people claiming Khamenei's dead, but I don't see it from anything real. Ben Shapiro's trending. Why is Ben Shapiro trending? Because of his picture with the Pope. Yeah, it's because of he gave the Pope a baseball. Mm. Okay, I guess everybody's like, good night. Nobody likes me, especially not Topher. Uh, I'm going to use host's prerogative to put the Reverend Parcells to bed because he does need to get up in the morning.
Sorry,
You are
Reverend. Thank
correct.
you.
But before he goes, I have a question. Let's say, God forbid, that I were to burn somebody at the stake for not being a Trinitarian. And I did not repent of that. Is that a salvation issue?
Sometimes Jacob takes
There's a
that devil's
proverb.
advocate thing too
Isn't there
far.
a proverb that says something like, "Don't answer a fool according to his folly."
But there's a proverb that says, answer a fool according to his folly.
There is.
Exactly right. I'm going to leave it to you guys to determine, which of those was applicable in this situation as I go. So, but anyhow, good.
Thank you, Reverend.
Good to
Thank
chat
you.
with you all.
Thank you.
Good night.
The